There's a lot of dangerous places in this world. Somewhere between 15 and 50,000 people die every year from snake bites in India alone. So countless more from in Pakistan, Bangladesh. Queensland is a very dangerous place. You can get eaten by a crocodile. Northern Territories, killed by a fierce snake, a death adder, tiger snake, a mulga snake or a king brown, whatever you want to call it. The coastal taipan, widely considered to be the most deadly snake in the world. The eastern brown. And of course the arboreal funnel web spider, or the Sydney funnel web, or just a shark if you have a really bad day. However, are any of these places as dangerous as just scrolling through Facebook? Well, let's have a look. Here's Ginny Mansberg, who's a real person, presumably. She's got 1.4 thousand followers. GP and parenting expert. Hi everyone, I'm Ginny Mansberg of Yardida. She obviously has professional photos taken. She doesn't have very many posts for somebody who's got 1,400 followers or photos or anything like that. And in fact, you'd almost say that her page seems to be malfunctioning. But she is paying for this advert, saying Martin Lewis didn't know the camera was still recording. Is this the end of his career? And it appears to be a video, and someone's given it a like. And there are 2 comments, and the comments are... Oh. It doesn't seem to say what the 2 comments are. Well, let's play the video. It's not a video. It just pretends to be. It's a website that says Martin Lewis is being sued by the Bank of England for comments he made on live broadcast, which is a fairly ambiguous statement, but it's got a picture of a woman with Martin Lewis written next to it, which is definitely wrong. Even in this day and age, Martin Lewis is specifically a man. We go on to see that Jane Wakefield explains to us that Martin Lewis's career is hanging by a thread. You've got to bear in mind he's already sold his website, so he's loaded. After his remarks on air with Sally Nugent. Now that must be Sally Nugent. Is she any relation to Ted Nugent? No, that's definitely her. She's a BBC breakfast lady. After Lewis's bold remarks to Sally, a scandal broke out on live television. Viewers began calling the network after what they saw as a heated exchange continued between Sally and Martin. BBC Breakfast. Is BBC Breakfast really live, or do they have a delay that allows them to prevent obscenities, scandals being broadcast? Just asking ChatGPT, who knows about these kind of things. BBC Breakfast is broadcast live, but there are measures in place to manage content. Right, that does counterintuitive, really, but the production team uses a short delay, so that means it isn't live, to allow for any unexpected issues like inappropriate language or mistakes to be edited out before it reaches viewers. This helps maintain the show's standards while still providing a live feed. So this story, coming back to Martin, broadcast by Ginny Mansberg, has to be false. There's no way that he would be able to tell Sally something horrible or whatever's supposed to have happened. But then it goes on to say, we were able to persuade the director of Good Morning Britain. It doesn't say who we are, but it's pretending to be the BBC News, even though it's under a page called Unvaluably. That's the root of that's it. That's the only story it has, unvaluably.com. Well, very briefly, I'm just going to report it to some friends of mine at Netcraft, who will say there's no threats on it, but then we'll write them an email saying, come on, it says BBC, it's phishing, and then they'll say, okay, then it's a threat. But by that time it'll be tomorrow, and the Facebook ads will be pointing somewhere else. But hey-ho, that's the way things go. I'm also just going to go to help and feedback and say report unsafe site. Just so Microsoft will hopefully flag this as a bad site. And it goes on to say, this is what really happened. So, in reality, of course, they would have edited this out. Somebody would have walked onto stage and said, Martin, what's the matter? Do you need another cup of tea or something? And this sort of ridiculous, this line that happens over and over again. In fact, let's just copy the whole thing and search for it in Google, in quotes. Because that means it's searching specifically for that text. Scams, 1950s British TV and radio. Okay, so that's a scam report site. Popular local shop to move thousands of pleasure. Deleted interview with Robert Peston. So that's another scam. That site seems to have been hacked somehow with this scam. Scam or legit. Okay, that means it's a scammer. Anyone who writes scam or legit is a scammer. Unless it's me. So Ben Fogle, unfortunately, this item on Medium, which is an absolutely appalling website. Active.today. Bank of England sues somebody or other. So that's actually an archive website that for some reason has bothered keeping an archive of a scam. But as you can see, they're prepared to use Martin Lewis, Sally Nugent, Ben Fogle, Ben Shepherd, who I think is another person like Sally Nugent that does the sort of breakfast thing. Rob Brydon is being sued by the Bank of England. I think that website's been shut down or something. Then there's lots of bloggers just sort of saying watch out. Green Forest Hike.monster. Okay, well there you go, there's another one. So this time they're picking on Peter Jones. Let's just report that one too. Report on safe site. So as we can see, that phrase is a key indicator on all these other scams. Because here he is on This Morning, which is ITV, I think, but it's basically the same show. And as is very typical, because these things are thrown together in a day, because it'll be banned by tomorrow. There's loads of inconsistency. So he's on This Morning with Philip and Holly, and a scandal broke out. But then it's Ben Shepherd. Well, Ben Shepherd isn't on the same show as Philip and Holly, is he? I mean, having never seen breakfast television, I don't know. But as you can see, the system's very simple. I mean, they've put a Good Morning Britain thing in the corner. I don't know where that picture is from, but it probably isn't from that show. There's a picture of him with like big pound signs behind him. So that's definitely a completely different thing. Whatever, it looks more like the lottery or something. And there is Sally, and they've edited the bit at the bottom to say loophole to riches with Good Morning Britain in the corner. But, obviously at no point, that's obviously not the same background at any point. That's not the same background as that or that. And then suddenly they've got a picture of allegedly Sally's bank account. An actual picture of Sally's bank account on ITV, which just isn't very likely. And then we move on to this journalist guy who does the lowdown on the whole thing. And, oh yeah, I checked it all. And let's visit the official site. And there's a picture of James Dyson and Graham Norton. And this week it's called immediateinstant.com, and it says spots remaining 35, 34, 33. You just happen to get to this site when there's only 32 places there. And this time it's called Mudrovaxis App. I mean, what kind of a name for anything is that? And all it wants you to do is fill the form in. It doesn't care about anything else. So it's all about getting somebody on the phone to you. And it says 4.7 stars out of more than... Well, on what website? There's no links to take you anywhere. The only links take you back to that app. All rights reserved by Mudrovaxis App. I mean, what does that even mean? Mudrovaxis. It sounds horrible. It sounds like something worse than COVID-19. Anyway, always remember that any interview that has the words "I made all my money by doing no work" or something along those lines is complete nonsense. And anyone that tells you that they're having some sort of television scandal breakout is mad. The whole thing's, as even ChatGPT can tell us, which is something that's, obviously it can make mistakes and it can do all kinds of things, but it is something that's read pretty much everything that anyone's ever written, and anyone's ever written in response to anything that's ever been written. So that is when you ask it a direct fact like that, that is a reasonable question to have some sort of faith in. And I think when you think about the actual situation itself, it's fairly obvious that you couldn't just have a live phone-in without some sort of digital delay. So what we can say about Mudrovaxis App is that it is designed specifically to get your name, email address rather, and phone number. And that's all they want. And we could fill it in with some nonsense one like that, because it's down to spots remaining 4. And all that will happen is the phone will start ringing with someone saying, oh, you've shown interest in trading, and they'll get you to deposit £250 into a CFD account, and then they'll pretend the money goes up. And you will never ever get any of that money back. And by the time they've persuaded you to remortgage your house, because one of the things about these CFD trading houses, which are offshore, particularly in places like Cyprus or St. Vincent's and the Grenadines or wherever, they use leveraging, which means you can bet 500, I said bet, it is basically betting. You can stake £500 at 1,000 to 1 leveraging and owe them £500,000 or even £1 million or £5 million in seconds. You see, that's all that website does. globalinthub.com/thank you. That's all it does. Does it do anything else? No, that's it. It's just a website they use. Thank you for registering with us. I mean, we'll report that anyway, just because if Microsoft really did block it, it would mean that people would realise as soon as they signed up to be wary of the person phoning them up. But in general, you know, to report a site like that to Netcraft or someone, it's very tricky because it doesn't really have any obvious malicious intent, unlike this, which is obviously pretending to be the BBC News. But anyway, the simple truth is we will continue to report on all of these ridiculous websites and try and keep people as safe as we can on Facebook, because, you know, it just takes one refresh and they'll start a new set of adverts. You know, I mean, as I said, we are in the most vulnerable set of groups. You know, people suffering from depression, people suffering from poverty, people who think the earth is flat, and people who think the world was destroyed by a giant mud flood in the 1800s. And that's where the AI is sending a lot of the traffic. Now, I have noticed recently it started to leave the flat earth people alone, because we've been making a lot of fuss about that. And it started to get a bit of exposure. The Independent did a piece on it, that, you know, people with certain religious beliefs are being targeted by scams on Facebook, so they seem to have calmed that down. But a couple of the other groups, like, you know, the people who are depressed and people who are feeling suicidal, they're still being targeted. I think that's even worse. Anyway, horse tranquilizer for depression, is that a good idea? I don't know. Anyway, the simple truth is no advert on Facebook should be clicked on that tells you you're going to make money. Because a person puts an advert on Facebook to make money, not to give money. That is the most important thing to remember. Everybody on the internet is trying to get money. And, you know, there's a sensible advert. You know, temperature controlled delivery. You know, if you need temperature controlled delivery, phone up these people or whatever. Anyone that says, oh, click here to make £6,000 for 250 quid is obviously insane or a scammer. They're probably a scammer. So I think there's something to bear in mind now, is that social media appears to be, in my experience, and, you know, Google's no different. It's got a lot of weird things on Google. I mean, if we start searching for, what was it called? Max Immediate Edge. Yeah, there they are, sponsored. Immediate Edge online platform. FinanceGurgle.com. Telling you that you'll make 200, well-renowned, industry-leading stockbroker, industry-leading stock. Yeah, look at that. It's, you know, there's hardly a lot of care taken here. They've tried to make it look as much like Trustpilot as possible. And there's not even any consistency in the structure. 5 out of 5. Where are the stars on that one? eToro is a real company. I don't know about these other two, but they're scammers. In the fact that they're affiliate scammers, they are being paid more than you're ever going to make, because you're going to lose your money, and they know you're going to lose your money. Earn money with your phone, sign up now. That's a scam, and it's being sponsored on Google. So Google are no better. The internet is... Okay, I mean, I'm deliberately searching for something dangerous there, media edge. Now, I don't know what keywords you could use to conjure up, like, get rich quick. Here we are. Wikipedia is actually explaining. Create an impression that participants can obtain this high rate of return with little risk, skill, effort, or time. And there they are with 2 people advertising that. So these things are fundamentally impossible. If these people could make a lot of money for very, very little effort and very little time spent, then they would just do it. They wouldn't ask you to do it. Quick profits online. Okay, so there's lotteries, which obviously always going to lose, unless you're incredibly lucky. But the chances, nearly everyone who clicks on that's going to lose. 25k every 3 minutes. That means that they're making 50k every 3 minutes, at least, probably 75. There's a lot of this start working from home stuff, which tends to be pyramid schemes. And then this down here, money saving expert might actually give you some useful advice, but you're not going to make a lot of money easily online. Online is the most difficult place to make money, because everyone in the world has access to it. You're competing with Africa, Asia, the Americas, Europe. Even people in Greenland are online, and they all need money. And unless they're going out and earning it properly, they're trying to do it on the internet. And as a result, the whole thing is riddled with, once again, the same people. View gear. Sign up now. So these guys are making a profit. That's how many people believe this stuff. They're making a profit. So they just paid, I don't know, let's just say they paid $5 for that click. That means at least 1 in 100 people sign up and get ripped off for $1,000, and they make 900 of it. Otherwise, that business would be unsustainable. People are being ripped off every second of every day. And if you don't think it can happen to you, then you're in danger of it happening to you.